Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Come on in. Open up your eardrums. Let's talk for a minute. I haven't done one of these in a hot minute. And for my non-Atlanteans, that means that I have not done one of these in a considerable amount of time. So we are here. The podcast is back. Took a bit of a brief hiatus in order to just reset the foundation, reset the platform, saying goodbye to the Facebook group, saying goodbye to the Discord within a couple of weeks, and building the school community, and also keeping up with the weekly episodes and content for the school community. So if you are hearing this, you are already in the school community, as updates from now on will only be a part of our growing community, and we'll be growing fast. A lot of good content in here and even better people. That's the crazy part about school. I'm even meeting some of you newer people to the platform, and you're coming in and having an immediate impact. So I know that the Here Nor There brand is having an immediate impact on your personal life. But we are here today to discuss programming. This was my favorite thumbnail to make. I saw this thumbnail in my mind weeks ago. So for those of you who are not privy to my creation process, to my creative process, the best videos I feel that I make are videos that the thumbnail comes to me first. The thumbnail may come to me weeks in advance. Actually, there is a thumbnail that's already in my mind that I thought of back in August, but the timing for when I do the video hasn't come upon me yet. But nevertheless, I see the thumbnail in my visual mind. Now, do I see the details? No. And for those of you who are learning how to visualize, those of you who may have came from telling yourself that you have not been able to visualize, for those of you who are trying to master visualization, here's my creative process. I don't actually see everything about the thumbnail. I just see the bits and pieces of it. I see the general information of it. Right? So this particular thumbnail, I talk a lot about programming. I speak a lot about programming the mind. And I see that as above, so below. What does that mean? That means that everything is a fractal of each other. What does that mean? That means we are all pieces of the same thing. Macro levels, micro levels, that society is a reflection. Your reality is a reflection. People you deal with is a reflection of your inner world. So with that being said, the human mind is very similar, if not the same exact thing as a computer. And now we're starting to recognize this for artificial intelligence, but I digress. The RAM in a computer can be seen as your conscious mind. The hard drive can be seen as your subconscious mind. So just like with a computer, the programs live on the hard drive, but the RAM accesses these programs in order to execute certain tasks, whether you're designing something, whether you're creating a video, creating a podcast, whether you're doing your day-to-day work, your day-to-day career task. This is how a computer works, and it is on a micro level the same as how your human mind works. So you can be programmed. You are programmable. In fact, you came with factory settings: how to breathe, how to eat, how to learn language, all these things you were born with. And then we start downloading programs. Start downloading programs from our parents, downloading programs from our grandparents, downloading programs from society at large, aunts, uncles, friends, strangers, the news, right? So all of these things have an effect on you. Before I get deeper in there, let's talk about the thumbnail. I saw the thumbnail in my mind maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I thought about television programming. I ponder a lot of things in my free time, and I thought about television programming. And why did they call it a program? You know? Yeah, you have your programs, you have your recitals, you have your different types of theatrical things that we experienced in childhood, in school. You know, you had a school program and things of that nature. But television programming, that word always stuck out to me. What is programming? And now we have computer programming. You are literally giving a computer a certain task that it executes unconsciously, automatically, as soon as it boots up. Of course, TV programming, there we are. I thought of nothing more just to replace my head with an old school 90s television. Because I'm an 80s baby, but I'm very fond of 80s. But the 80s was only really the first 7 to 8 years of my life. but I remember most of my conscious life, my conscious childhood, my conscious adolescence in the 90s. So I wanted to make sure I grabbed like a late 80s, early 90s TV for this particular thumbnail, including the static, things of that nature. And I wanted to include a message. At first, the message said propaganda, but I didn't really think that it fit with what I was talking about. Yes, we do download different propaganda all the time. We just got done with a presidential election. You guys have been propagandaed out for the last 6 months. But I didn't feel like that spoke to the audience. So then I went with something that said illusion. So when we are being programmed by a society, we are essentially asleep. Just like I said in the video, we are under a state of hypnosis in the first 7 years of our life, a state of active hypnosis where we are just absorbing information in. But as we continue through our adulthood, we are continuing to be programmed, right? We're continuing to be programmed. And so that is why I went with something like the television, because it reminds me of my childhood, but also it reminds me of how things are now, right? Now, when I went into the aspect about the rest of the photo, I have a really nice suit that I paid a lot of money for 2 years ago. And I always do my thumbnails with a black shirt on. I keep that consistent with the brand, but also sometimes I just want to switch it up. You know, it's always a black t-shirt, or sometimes, depending on the theme, I may have my shirt off. Whenever I'm speaking about things that are more divine or associated with divinity, I typically remove my shirt. You know, I don't really show off my pecs and all that stuff, but it just fits the picture. You know, if you have Michelangelo's painting of God touching Adam's hand in one of my famous videos, one of my more watched videos, it just looked kind of weird when I had a shirt on. It just kind of took away the whole thing because they're butt naked. And so I just try to keep it consistent. I'm not trying to be sexy. I'm not trying to be salacious, just trying to be aesthetically consistent. But with this one, I wanted to put on the suit because something about it gives an air of a vintage feel, but also I wanted to have some type of way of saying, like, even at your best, even when you're dressed in your best threads, what's on the outside is not going to be effective compared to what's on the inside. What does your programming say? You can have on the best suit, the best dress, but if your programming is jacked up, none of those things are going to matter. So that's what is going on with the symbolism of the thumbnail. I have to say that was probably my favorite thumbnail to make. It probably took me 4 or 5 hours to perfect it. I did try different versions. And I went with the wake up text. I went with the wake up text because that seemed to be something that actually spoke to the programming. Like I said, you're under a state of hypnosis from 0 to 7. When you go to sleep every night, you're under a state of hypnosis. So to realize this, to become consciousness, you have to wake up to the programming, wake up to how society is fashioned to just herd you into certain lanes that benefit society, but not necessarily benefits you as the individual. And that's what this episode is about. It's funny that this platform that we moved to is called school. I didn't want to move to the platform. I was told about it. Another content creator dropped that seed in my mind back in June, I believe. I think May or June. An Instagram influencer, just out of nowhere. He said, "Hey, you should get on this platform." And I was like, what is this? I don't like it. But now here we are 6 months later, and I'm like, oh, this is the best thing ever. And it reminds me, of course, an actual school, a university, if you will. We are here to learn. We are here to build. We are here to grow, right? And we get most of our programming through school. In fact, school, traditional school, one thing that I realize now in my adulthood is school isn't really designed to make you successful. It's designed to make you an employee. It is designed to program you as an employee. Most of the important skills that you need to have as an entrepreneur, you do not learn at a school or university. You learn certain subject matter and you learn just enough to be beneficial, to be profitable for somebody else who does know how all this stuff works. Who does know how wealth works, who does know how programming works, who is programming their children to not be employees. So programming is all around us, but this is not some type of humdrum, fear your own shadow type of episode or podcast. It is just, again, waking you up to what's going on. And now you get to choose your programming. That's the beautiful thing about the reality that we live in. We get to choose. So what are you watching? I did use the example in the episode about if you're going through relationship woes, what are you watching? I'm not even going to go back into the childhood traumas. Let's not even do that because most of you don't even have those. But what is it? Are you watching 90 Day Fiancé? Are you watching Love is Blind? Are you watching the old school housewives of Atlanta, of LA, of New York, of Miami, basketball wives, these things? Are you watching The Bachelor, The Bachelorette? Are you watching these things that perpetuate a constant cycle of dating, but never marriage, never happiness? When I was an adolescent, when I was a young man, up until I was a young man, we had sitcoms. We had, in the black community, we had The Cosby Show. I know Bill Cosby is still under a lot of heat, but back then he was a wonderful actor, wonderful role model, and he was an example of family and marriage. We had The Martin Show and Martin Lawrence, where they were in a relationship and then eventually they got married throughout later seasons. You had Family Matters with the Winslow family, a married working class couple. You had Urkel running around making a bunch of noise and stuff like that. But nevertheless, everything was about family, everything was about marriage. And where are those shows now? Where are they now? You don't really have the sitcoms. I think the most popular one you got now is probably Modern Family, but I haven't heard about that in a few years. I don't know if it's still in continuation or not. But where are the shows, the movies, the things that are applying some type of structured relationship, some type of family? You don't really see it as much as you do the dating shows now. So is it really a surprise that so many people that are within dating and marriage range are having trouble finding partners? Because society has not necessarily programmed us for that for the last 20, 25 years. So you have to program yourself for. I recommend you turn off the TV and read a book. But if you're going to watch TV, make sure you are watching things that align with what you're going through. Now, I like to watch action movies. So am I going to just throw away all the action movies? No, but I don't watch action movies every day. I don't watch them every week. I don't even watch them every month. You can enjoy the things you enjoy, but just make sure you're not overdosing on them. You're not binging on them. You are not actively involved in something that is going to disrupt your manifestation process. If you're trying to manifest a relationship, I would stay away from certain type of music because that is going to put you into a certain type of space and start to program you to believe certain things that are not going to go in your favor. Same with money. I don't watch the news, and it's not because I'm just this super enlightened being. It's just that everything on the news is negative. I've never learned anything off the news except who got killed on the other side of town. That's it. Everything I've learned has came out of a book. Everything that I've learned has came off a curated YouTube feed, a YouTube timeline. I've learned some things off Instagram, a curated Instagram timeline. I've never learned anything off the news except how to be scared. And unfortunately, we have a choice. I spoke about the they, but I don't have a belief that society is out to get us. I don't believe that. But I do believe that society is out to give you a choice. There is a negative path and there's a positive path. And if you won't program your mind, other people will be glad to do it for you so it benefits them. So take control. Program yourself. Do this with your techniques. Your techniques are essentially computer programs. You're writing the script, you're writing the prompt to install the program, the new belief, whether it's a new belief in love, a new belief in how you look, a new belief in how you feel, your vitality, your health, a new belief in how much money you make, your value in the workplace, your new beliefs about you as a husband, a wife, a son, a daughter, a friend, a confidant. Program yourself. I spend a lot of time programming myself, or making programs through my subliminals. And check out the classroom in our school community for those subliminals. But I spend a lot of time creating my own subliminals and experimenting myself and installing new programs and seeing how it benefits my life. Those of you that already know, I spend a lot of time programming myself to become a better photographer. I spent a lot of time programming myself to be a better cinematographer. I have programmed myself for a lot of things that you guys see, a lot of things that you guys benefit from a content standpoint. I previously programmed myself to do it with a simple affirmation of my subliminals that I am this, that I am that I feel this, that I feel that. And then by proxy, you guys see the end result. I always experiment on myself before I ask anything of you guys or I teach anything. So, your mind is the most important thing in your reality. What goes in your mind dictates what you experience. So treat it as such. Treat it as sacred ground. Protect it at all costs. Protect it from people who are trying to put beliefs into you that do not serve you. Once you get used to this, it becomes so much easier. It becomes just so natural and organic. But trust me, you won't have to live a life to where you'll be constantly looking over your shoulder, but you will be aware. And it'll happen very naturally and organically and effortlessly in these first stages if you're new to this. Just like if you're new to anything else, just like if you're new to learning a sport, new to a new job, you have to go through a little bit of a rough patch, but you will get through it and you will begin to program yourself successfully for what you want to experience, not what they want you to experience. You are neither here nor there. Thank you for your time.